Valentino Rockstud purse, my $3,000 Prada jacket, $2,000 Prada shirt, $2,000 or $3,000 Prada pants, Prada glasses, Prada hat, Prada bracelet, and it's all Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off. Prada shirt, Prada hat, Prada glasses, Prada pants, and it's all nylon, so the haters' tears fall right off.
Hey everybody, welcome to DeFi Down Under. Hey Fast Abdul, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Staying off the hard drugs and out of jail. How about you?
Very nice. Yeah, about the same here. About the same. I've been a little bit out of the loop this week, as I was saying before the stream, but yeah, it's still got notifications on and see things ticking away and some stuff going on. So I might need your help to fill everyone in on what's been happening in the past week. But yeah,
sure.
we've I see a lot of talk about the ESM function on the PDAI, the DAI copy, and I actually saw that that Caddy was in the in one of the spaces at the moment explaining it, but I haven't been able to tune in. So can you tell us much about that? I know it was triggered.
Just in that space.
Oh yeah. Oh, here we go.
I was just in that space a minute ago, so I'll fill you in.
Yeah, let's go for it. What's been happening?
Well, basically the the MakerDAO auctions happened where people could bid on MakerDAO tokens that were being minted by the protocol because the joy hit zero. This all gets technical. You don't have to understand everything, but the bottom line was there were new MakerDAO tokens that came onto the market via this auction. And once someone got enough of them, then they could trigger things inside the protocol. And this Katie Dev or Caddy Dev, what's her real name? Katrina, I'm pretty sure. She acquired enough somehow to do this, likely via the auctions. And she executed the ESM function, like so the emergency shutdown. Which can't be reverted. Like once it's done, it's done. Like you can't turn it back on. It's not an option. If the code has to be redeployed by the MakerDAO team, they're not going to do that. So that all the functions of PDAI are now done. It's now just a meme coin. Before she did that, she raised the debt ceiling to a silly number and minted a ton of PDAI and then dumped it to near zero.
Saw that dip. Yep.
And that was kind of strange. So like the part about shutting down the protocol meant that the exploit couldn't happen. The coin can still be bought and sold. It just becomes effectively a meme coin forever, which is fine. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
Selling it down, was a little bit odd. She had her reasons that she explained, trying to make it peg with PUSDT and PUSDC and stuff, which is not super relevant to me. And then they turned around. They used most of the funds to buy up Atropa and Teddy Bear, the original Teddy Bear with the bear ticker, mostly Atropa, I think. which again was somewhat questionable because the Atropa guy was also doing like 5-hour live streams of himself dumping his own tokens.
Exactly.
And yeah, and also T-Bill, another one that they bought up. So they put all the value basically back into his tokens, gave it back to him, for him to do what, I don't know. And like the T-Bill thing, he owns like 97% of the tokens or something. So yeah, I'm just a little bit confused about that play. But the bottom line is the danger is over. The extractor who was pulling money off the PulseChain cannot do so anymore. Like they can no longer mint PDI. If they have it already, they can sell it. But there's no the danger to the chain has passed because of this exploit. All done.
Yep. That is music to my ears. It's a beautiful thing. Because I really feel like that's not only just lately, but it's probably a little bit of an explanation why we haven't had a lot of positive price action as well, on the chain. But so in the way of how you said that this Katrina or whatever minted the PDI to then dump on the market, does that mean that could she only do that because of the MakerDAO tokens having them, or did she work out how this exploit was happening and could replicate that?
No, it wasn't the same as the exploit.
Right. Okay.
Because she actually acquired the voting power to change the limit of the max amount, and then was able to mint them via that. So I don't believe it was the same process the original exploiter was using. Nobody actually really ever figured that out, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. She knows more about it than I. But the bottom line is minted the tokens, sold the price down, and then proceeded to burn a lot of those tokens that were not sold and to use to buy Atropa and such. So she burned a silly amount of PDI. I think burned the MakerDAO tokens. It was a strange thing, but it was overall positive for the chain. And we saw Richard post about it, right? He posted that the PDI is finally over, right? So
that's right.
He approves. I don't really care about the other stuff so much as that problem is gone.
I 100% agree. Yeah. There's the post there saying that calling it a cancer, the PDI cancer may be coming to an end. And that, someone ran the fire function on the ESM module. So yep, it's a beautiful thing. This obviously means that, if it can't be minted anymore, there can't be the exploit. It probably means it can't be pegged either. I guess there can't be collateral put against it in that way.
There's no functionality at all, right? All the stuff in the back end is turned off forever, period. End of story.
Yeah, that's great. And the funny thing about that is that I was just scrolling through Twitter a minute ago, and I saw Decentralized Me talking about that was almost like a blessing that all that work's done now, and now it can go on to another part of making this happen. And it's like, man, when is this going to end? How many nails do you need in the coffin before people just stop with new narratives about it? Oh, even Red Squirrel said that. Yeah, there's always another narrative at the moment with the PDI, but it can't be. So let's move on.
It can be a meme coin, right? Which is fine. I was always okay with it being a meme coin, but it can't be what they want it to be, and it never really could. The math, the code, everything was working against it. It was not decentralized. Obviously, if one dev found a way to turn it off, that is not how decentralized works. So it's the danger is past, and at this point, I hope it goes to $1,000 because it could technically. I don't think it will, but great. They can have their meme coin. I hope people don't believe the narrative anymore. But if they, if you want to push it to $1 and you have enough money to do so, Godspeed.
Exactly. And if it gets up in big dollars, that'll encourage people from other chains, to come over and dump it. So that's great too. If they're, if they had a copy of the DAI and stuff from the fork, then there we go. Yeah, exactly. I'll say g'day to the chat here. UFO there.
That advertising.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you were saying that the advertising, that stint is over with that, but who knows? Either way, it'd be nice to come over to a new chain one day and all of a sudden find that you've got some dollars sitting there. It'll make you a little bit more bullish straight away. But yeah, we got UFO here. What a legend. Hope we can catch up with you one day soon, UFO. Have a couple of beers. We got Ash. Always wanted to catch an alien. Yep. He's you'd have trouble catching UFO. He's a sneaky one. I've seen him on the move. Yes, g'day Red Squirrel. Thanks for coming in. And Ross is here. He was maybe going to pop on, but yeah, good to get a summary. This SEC thing is I see a lot of people posting about it like it's another deadline or another true answer of, that we're going to have a good outcome. It could just kick the can down the road again for another little while, couldn't it? If they put an amendment forward and it gets approved, then it could just get pushed down again.
Well, it wouldn't even have to get approved. They could put an amendment forward, and then the judge could take 60 days to look at the amendment to decide whether it was going to get approved, right? So, that's another 2 months down the road if that happens. If best case scenario, the SEC just dismisses that, drops the case, right? Like doesn't put anything forward, and then it's just done. That would be what I would hope for. If they put something forward and the judge rejects it again, it's kind of better in the long run, maybe, because it's like they got their hand slapped twice. But at this point, I just want to stop talking about that, just like I want to stop talking about PDI.
Yep, it's been, I think, a few weeks in a row or a while ago that I said let's stop talking about PDI, but even I brought it up. So there we go. I'm just as bad as the rest of them. Yeah, and then I thought, because I'd thought about muting it off my timeline, which you did, didn't you, on X?
I did. It's been
and
great.
Then I thought, then I wouldn't have seen that tweet from RH either saying, about the ESM function and that. So there's a good and bad to muting it. It wouldn't have popped up.
True.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, with RH, I actually go look at his profile, so it wouldn't have popped up, but. You can still go see the thing you want to see if you want to.
Yep. No, that's fair enough. So you meant touching on about decentralization before, and the whole that whole thing with PDI. What about with the PulseChain updates? To keep up with Ethereum. There was an interesting post from Just Ask Jesse. Saying that we're several updates or EIPs behind. And yeah, we haven't sort of been taking the same path as yet with updates. And obviously, what you mentioned earlier is that we need to implement all the updates. You can't just pick and choose. In
order, I think.
So what do you think about that and the fact that he sort of explained in there that the only people that can do that are the majority of the validators, which could be RH and his team. And yeah, the fact that whether that is decentralized or not.
Well, I think there is like a lot of validators. Like it's not just RH and his team doing validation. I would even suspect that they are not the majority validators, if they have any at all. I know of some like big players that are pushing a lot of validators. And then there's the liquid staking protocols that are basically giant validators themselves, like Jex's vouch protocol, for example. So like as far as these update goes, why haven't they done it yet? I would think that it would be connected to the court case, like RH being unable to take an active hand in the running of the chain, and so on and so forth. So I don't think there's any particular reason to think that they can't happen or that they won't happen. We're just a couple updates behind, which in a way gives us a safety margin because there's definitely time for people to for mistakes to happen on Ethereum and get corrected before we implement those updates. So
Yeah.
I don't like how behind we are, but I do like that we're behind them and that they're pushing the technology and we can just adopt it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I guess that's that whole horizontal scaling type thing as well that Richard would talk about. And the fact that, yeah, if we are a bit behind, it's good having that buffer there for certain things that might pop up. I mean, look at I know that it's totally different to doing updates and stuff. But even like the PDI thing on our chain, how long it took to actually get found and then dealt with as well. So if we can avoid those things in the future, and especially avoid update failures, with the chain, that's pretty massive, and we need to do that. So, and yeah, I didn't want to sort of start any FUD on the validator or decentralized or centralized side at all. But yeah, it's just that thought of, where are we? So yeah, 49,200 validators at the moment, pretty much, which is a huge amount. And yeah, if you reckon there's a few big players out there with many validators, then that's great. But it's just, yeah, we like to hope that it is a true decentralized nature, because that's what we've been told and been sort of preaching and running with this whole time. So that's good stuff.
I think there's enough validators that we do have decentralization. Nobody can shut it down. So
Yeah.
In a way, that might make it a little harder to push updates because they need the validator consensus.
Yes.
But that being said, RH could spin up 45,000 validators of his own and get that consensus if that was required.
Yeah, interesting.
And yeah. I don't think it's a big deal.
That's cool. Yeah, that's great. I guess, yeah, everyone needs to put in, don't they? So that's an interesting
it can only
thought
get
there.
better, right? Like I think we'll see better gas prices, better transactions, like an additional bells and whistles that are on Ethereum that we don't have on PulseChain. I know there's some protocols waiting for that. Like the Coast guys are talking about doing a balancer V3 fork. And like I don't think they can actually finish it until they have some of those updates, right? Because like to process the massive amounts of data in a reasonable timeline, it becomes difficult without some of those things that are on Ethereum. We actually see that on things like the Flux exchange, which is a fork of balancer V2. It's one of the slower protocols, and it's about as fast as it can be at the current state of PulseChain, right? It needs to be able to carry more data in the transactions. I won't get into the dev stuff, but that is the reason that side is slower than I'd want it to be.
Interesting. And so possibly with these updates that get implemented, that could help improve the speed of those protocols if they also implement.
Yep. Yeah, and we could get new protocols like heavier protocols with more complicated code, more working parts moving at the same time. There's definitely going to be some advantages. All right. And I think probably cheaper gas prices are on the horizon as well with some of these updates.
Yep. Cool. Do you think that's is there much about with Tetra that these things could help with, or I know that's got a lot of moving parts with it as well, or is it just simply the Oracle issue there? Because I know they've been sort of talking about the fact of having Oracle issues to be able to actually put Tetra out there live properly.
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
So we've been waiting a long time for Tetra to come live as well, which is obviously a protocol where you can make it make lots of different moves and program it basically to perform different functions. Do you know if that's simply just waiting for the Oracle, or is that something where these updates would also be able to help Tetra get to that final stage if it's a complexity issue?
I think the way I understand how Tetra would run, and I don't want to reveal anything that's a confidence. Like sometimes I forget which things are and which things aren't.
That's
but
totally
I
cool,
think it's essentially you'd run it locally, right? So it wouldn't be affected by you'd download software. It's like software as a service basically. So you download software, you'd use that software to accomplish these tasks on the blockchain. So it wouldn't be as affected by those updates. It wouldn't require those updates to run. So I don't think we're waiting for that. I think we're waiting for new innovative products. You make something new, it's harder than copying something old. and you're going to have to deal with like bugs that nobody's ever seen before. So I think that's, that's what we're waiting on. I think the Oracle was part of the package. So, that could delay it, but I don't think it's a big deal as far as, that this is the second fork of Teller on the PulseChain, the Signum Oracle. Liquid Loans has done it successfully. I'm sure the Tetra team will finish that as well. I think they just have some minor implementation changes there, and then probably we'll have it in, a couple weeks, but it's supposed to be, I think it just missed the deadline because they had one other bug fix, but they were talking about releasing it on Friday last week. So if take a little bit longer, but we get a final working product, the security is super important with something like that. So you can't leave any holes, right? You can't rush it so people can, FOMO. It's not the win.
Totally. I agree. I'm all about, I think I, share with people like you and a few others that, have a lot of patience. There seems to be a lot of impatience, in the crypto community, but I think as long as it takes just to get it right is totally the best way to go. That's for sure. UFOs, UFOs talking about this wallet. So I know not this wallet, but RH is dropping hints about the fact that there might be a wallet on its way, which we've sort of speculated on for a long time now. But he asked that direct question of which one should we fork, basically, or what would you fork? Has there been any more talk about that? Do you know much more about it?
Well, RH hasn't returned any of my DMs on the matter, but there's been some talk. I've heard he say he's already built it and he's just teasing us. And other people like Maddie was saying, like, if RH is asking questions, he probably wants the answers, right? He wants to know what people want, and he's actually like gathering data. So it could be either of those two things. He's had enough time to do it. That's not in question. It's a big ask to release a wallet. Like, a wallet isn't a like immutable code. Here you go. Like, here's the keys. I'm walking away. Like, no, you need a team that never stops working on the wallet, right?
Absolutely.
So, and that's why I kind of wish like that he would just like reach out to Internet Money and be like, hey guys, you seem to have a team who's working on a wallet with docs devs, and maybe you could support that somehow, right? Like help make that better, help that get adoption. Because like if it's a very simple thing where it's just like a safe tiny wallet that doesn't do much, like maybe you could drop it and then be done. But like wallets are not like blockchain. Like, they interact with blockchain, but they're software, right? Yeah. And software needs to be changed. Like, you have Windows 11, and then we'll have Windows 12, and soon we'll have Windows 15. And like the wallets are gonna have to get updated for like, oh, the Chrome did an update, it's never gonna end, right? So it's a big ask to make a wallet and then keep it updated continuously forever. You basically, that's the job that never ends.
Yeah, no, that's right. Definitely, we don't want all that liability sitting in one basket, and that's a bit like what KG says, and he might actually be coming on next week on this show. Shout out to KG. I love the Internet Money wallet, but he sort of says about the wallet and just doing that, and not doing too much more around or outside of it, because it is a full-time gig and they need to put all their time into that. So it is a bit of a worry if they're just going to take that on. And I would like, I'd love him, RH to give a good nod to Internet Money, and work with them. Like you said, that would be amazing, because they've had their, stayed in their lane and had their heart in the right place with PulseChain the whole time. And it's built for PulseChain, basically.
Yep.
UFO wants them to fork the Maria wallet. Yep. It'll have sparkly buttons and good stuff. Yeah, look, obviously most people are saying just fork Grabby wallet. Pretty much everything they've got, seems to work well, have all great features. That sounds good, but like you said, it could already be built, and waiting for him to get through this SEC case to put another sacrifice out or something. Who knows? He might get us to sacrifice to a rugged project's wallet or something like that this time, and see what happens.
The like the tokenized wallet thing, like not very many wallets have done that, right? Like Internet Money did it. All the fees go to the holders of the time token, but like most wallets are just wallets and they're collecting fees on swaps inside the wallet. They go to the team and, you know, that's it. So like he could just release a wallet and, you know, and be done with it and not have it be tokenized. That's actually a bigger complication than doing it. So, but like, yeah, everybody wants Rabby back, you know, and that kind of thing. But like, I think we have to look internally and just find an answer. But yeah, like, and who knows, like, will he actually do this or not? Like, I still don't feel like it's 100%.
I get you. Yeah, look, I know that there's more features that people want, but everyone should give Internet Money Wallet a go, I think, because it works and it's all there, except for, you know, some of the more fancy stuff that Rabby had, which I understand is liked, but keeping it simple, I think, is also a good thing in some ways, and it keeps it a bit safer. There's less buttons to be pushed and that sort of thing. That is for sure.
Like, don't FOMO into a new wallet you just found, right? Like, it's wallet security is supremely important. Now, of course, KG is going to give you a much better lesson on that than I can. But like some wallets, like do things like they store their your seed phrase like online and things like that. Like you don't want that. Like you want to know that only the person who has the keys, who is only you and can only ever be you, can ever access that wallet. So like, for somebody to put out a scam wallet, like, you know, and make it popular in a short timeline and then rug everyone, like, yeah, that's totally possible. You should worry about that. Like, don't get the new wallet. You know, use an established wallet, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not something that you mess with. It's like the hardware wallets. You don't go and buy some cheap named, you know, hardware wallet that they class as safe and use all the fancy words, cold storage and whatnot. You just stick with what works, and that's it. So
yeah, and don't buy a used one either. It's not a thing.
Yep, definitely.
For only $10. It's gonna be a deal. Like, no, it's a bad deal.
It's a bad deal. You know, the only thing that you could use a secondhand one for is to use as like a decoy. You know, I hear Papa Bona talk about it. If you have people, if you're known to be into crypto and say people come over to your house and whatnot, you obviously have your things stored in a good place, but you could have a decoy wallet, hardware wallet sitting somewhere and, you know, just in case might stop someone going looking too far or whatnot. There you go. Might be a good idea. Or you might want to suss out who the dodgy guy is in your friend group as well.
No kidding. Yeah, you could even have it set up with like you know, like a fake, like a seed phrase for your fake wallet written down, and then just have some sort of like FU token in the wallet and nothing else. Like
100%. Exactly.
Many jokes.
That's it. I think it's a good idea. But yeah, how's the ink printer going? You've obviously were a part of, you know, building that and founding that and launching it. So I hear there's a bit locked up in it at the moment.
Yeah, let me take a quick look here.
Yeah, do it. That'll be great.
Let's see. Here, tell you what, I'll share a screen here. No, I won't share a screen. We can just talk about it. So there's 3.15 million ink tokens in it, which are worth $3.83 million after about a month.
Beautiful.
That's about 6 or 7% of all the ink in existence locked in the protocol. So I'm pretty happy with that for this short timeline. It's clearly there's some adoption there, and that's, you know, it completes the set. So we have 4 stable coins that use the 4 different Richard Hart ecosystem tokens for collateral. So and we're still building. Like we're doing a big upgrade on this one, where we're actually working with the Power City team as well as the Hocus Pocus team to make a liquid staking protocol for the print token, which is the native token of the protocol,
Right.
as well
Beautiful.
as like a buy and burn mechanism that's like works with farms. And we're gonna have a new token called the Incinerator token that rewards people in ink for holding it and burns the print token. So yeah, we're just gonna
Right.
push it as far as we can, because I think if these stablecoin protocols, like, this is what we need. We need decentralized, immutable code stablecoin protocols where nobody can shut it off, and nobody can mint it to oblivion. And that's what all these liquidity forks are. So liquid loans, earn, flex, ink printer. Those are our decentralized stablecoins on chain.
Exactly. Yep. We want it to be stable and not exploitable. And if you can make some good rewards, or definitely lock it up and take out a loan at the point you want to and jump back in later. It's such a good thing. And having ink locked up is also, I like to think that coming into the bull run, we all know what we want to do and when we're going to exit and stuff like that. But from what I hear, and even in experience of being in tokens that have a good run, you start to change your narrative as the price changes, and this might just help keep ink locked up, through that time, and into the next bear or whatnot, and
Totally.
just be good for the longevity of it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and it provides the higher end players different options. Like it's actually can be used as leverage on ink. Like you can put in $10,000 worth of ink, take out $5,000, right? And then if the price doubles to 20,000, like so that you have $20,000 worth of ink in there, you can pay back your $5,000 and get your 20,000 in ink back, or you could take out another $5,000, which you could use to buy more ink. Like, these are a little bit more advanced plays, but they're not complicated. And there is a sort of a fail safe, like you can create a stop loss position, basically, like put in $10,000 worth of ink, take out $5,000. If for some reason it goes down by 80%, well, you'll lose the remaining of your vault because it'll be liquidated, but you get to keep the $5,000 you took out.
Yeah.
You could actually take out a fair bit more than that on $10,000. So, like there is that stop loss element as well that, could work for somebody one day. Not that that's what I'm hoping for.
Yep, exactly. No, that would be beautiful. We don't want to get liquidated, and if we don't want to, and we're not putting the position in for that reason. I remember there was that issue with liquid loans, how some liquidations got triggered, at a certain stage, and it was maybe a bit early, or it was like on a wick or something. Do you know if they're past that, and is that something that shouldn't happen anymore on any of these liquidity forks, or what was that all around?
I think Liquid Loans was the pioneer, and like their Oracle system they're using to get the price was giving them trouble early on, and they've since corrected that, and including launching their own fork of Teller. So we're using a different system, the same as Earn and Flex, where it's basically like an Oracle that's pulling the price off, but it's doing it in such a way that it's hard for people to game it, which is part of the problem, right? Like that Liquid Loans was having early on. It was mostly the redemptions, less the liquidations,
right.
more redemptions. But I remember some talk on liquidations too. But basically like between Liquid Loans, Earn and Flex, that problem has mostly been solved with these liquidity forks. It's not the primary concern. It's may not be perfect, but it seems to be pretty safe. Like there have been liquidations. There haven't been any redemptions yet because that doesn't turn on for the first 45 days. We got some time left on that. But when there are redemptions, like it's not going to be a surprise, right? Like it's just how these protocols work. And redemption is a neutral thing. Remember, it's like, you just get your loan paid off. There's no fee attached to it for the person who had their vault paid off, right? You just don't have to pay it back, right? So it's, if the price keeps going down, you won. If the price goes up after you lost, it's like in the moment, it's definitively neutral.
Sure. No, exactly. That's very good. I was just going to bring up GoPulse. Where are we? I saw something interesting, which I know is getting talked about a bit though. one thing was just obviously how low the liquidity is sitting there at the moment. We had a bit of a spike. Where's that? November, December sort of time, and just a mad drop after all of the things got changed on the farms and whatnot. We really got all that pulled out. So I'm just waiting for a pump, but it seems to be pretty obvious that that low liquidity has a lot to do with how volatile it is at the moment as well. Just prices flying around everywhere.
It could go down faster as well as up faster with low liquidity.
Exactly. No, it's pretty crazy watching it all fly around. And in saying that, where did it go? Sorry, I was going to bring up just the current prices because I haven't actually checked them either. Go back to the homepage. So, so in the past 7 days, we're pretty much where we were. Hex is up a little bit over the past 7 days, but things are just about sitting there. We sort of recovered from a bit of a dip, and going to be interesting to see what happens.
I think ink got down under $1, like 95 cents kind of thing, and now it's back up at $1.23. Like it's a huge range.
Yeah, indeed. This is obviously just on Go Pulse, but where are we? Yeah,
here we go.
Just chopping around a bit there, here and there. So,
what's that low? 93 cents. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Week down to 91 or something, 92. So yes. Not very cool.
Look at that difference to $1.23. Like if you bought that wick at 92 cents, like you did well.
Yep, definitely. Yep, I'm with you. There's people just hoping for upside. There's people hoping for a bit more downside. But I think most people have their positions. So even if you don't get to buy that next mega dip, these prices are still crazy low. Even PulseX is still looking juicy, even though it's sort of run, there was a decent dip down there to the 1400-ish, and gone up a long way. So we'll see what happens, but it's definitely still a good time to be jumping in there. What do you think about the sort of macro at the moment? I know we're probably chopping a little bit to that higher side at the moment, hoping that there's something good will happen with the SEC case. But what do you want to put your 2 cents in on what you think might happen after that?
I'm sure there's some speculation, but like we've already seen these like pump and dumps about SEC news. Like even the worst news, I don't think would be that bad. There certainly would be, some red candles. And the worst news is like they submitted something and the judge has 60 days to look it over. It doesn't definitively mean anything. But the possibility that it gets dismissed and is done on, Monday or Tuesday. I think what is the 21st? 21st is Monday. So like we probably wouldn't hear till the 22nd. Like, people are probably speculating that on that a bit, but I think the real thing that would happen would be if it does get dismissed, we would see green candles on that day in a major way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to mention that last time that happened, the sack bags were a minor portion of the sack bags were deployed in celebration and pumped millions of dollars into the chain. I wouldn't be super surprised if that happened again.
Yep, 100%. There was definitely a good pump when we got that first bit of good news. But that reminds me, you're talking about the SAC wallet. We saw some moves of some coins going into Tornado Cash as well. Ethereum being moved into Tornado Cash during the week. I know it's a bit hard to track where that goes, but you can only speculate that it's moved into some wallets that might be ready to deploy into something. So it'd be nice. Sorry.
I think that secrecy is important for that, right? Because in the past, when the OA or the SAC wallets have, deployed onto the chain, then there's just a lineup of guys and, in various cabals that are that are following those wallets, and then they're front running them, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's buying PulseX, like, and they front run the transaction and then sell it down, right? So it doesn't get the pump that it would get if there were, let's say, 100 random wallets that nobody knew who owned them, that bridge in over the course of a month, and they're just, waiting to deploy, and there's no connection between those wallets because they went through Tornado Cash. There's no way to know if they have any connection to the OA or not, and you would get a much more sustained pump if it happened that way than if there's one big wallet that everybody's following, waiting to dump on.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely sick of the Jeets and the dumpers. Every pump we get, I see DJ Cryptomatic, mention that every time, because we get a decent pump and just these Jeets just come and sell it back down again every time. So it'd be nice when they get surprised and maybe they're already out, and then they have to buy back in at a higher price. They're the days I look forward to, when they can't game the system anymore. But yeah, in the broader sort of things with the market, we don't see. We just see Bitcoin sort of chopping around still. It's at 84,000 today, 84,600. And sort of the most recent low was on, where is it? Oh yeah, sorry. Oh, that's why. Here we go.
Yeah, 75.
This is why we need Dozer.
75.
This is why we need Dozer, because I had it on the 5-minute chart. So that's gonna tell us a lot. 74,000, yeah. So back on the 9th of April. So it's sort of come back up to that range again, sitting at the 85. But we really want it to, where are we? Bring the daily up. Probably want it to get over the 90,000 mark to be feeling bullish. Yeah, I reckon above the 93, 94 mark, we'll probably start feeling it to the upside again, and we'll be able to get some better sentiment happening. So super looking forward to that. I reckon it all depends, I guess, as well. There was the talks with the Trump tariffs, and he sort of hit the hammer down hard, but then we got some relief from that. So I'm thinking that a lot of that is just to be like, hey, we're here, we're sort of in charge, and we need to take charge of what's happening in the economy. And I think it'll start to ease off and find that happy medium again to actually be able to get to a good economic situation. Because going that hard and holding it there, I don't think it's the plan, but I also don't think that's where it's going to work well. So
the plan could just be that Trump's giving his buddies a chance to get in, and then he, and then he pumps it, right? So announce tariffs, tell your buddies to buy, and then, announce the tariffs are paused, and then repeat the process again in 3 months.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great.
That's it. No, he likes swinging it around to show him who's boss as well. We've had another mate just pop in. T-Bird's here. I'll bring him up. Hey, T-Bird.
What's good, gentlemen?
What's happening, man?
I don't know, just sipping on some coffee, and I saw you guys put out the link, so I thought, why not jump in and join the chat?
Beautiful. No, thank you. Yeah, so good. I noticed you were on the other week with 43, which was a great stream, and you joined us for the Aussie Day one as well, I reckon. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. 43 is always putting out good content, and always try to join his stuff.
Absolutely. Super top bloke. We were just talking about, sort of what's happening recently price wise, and what we might see with the SEC, case, and things like that in the next few days and going forward.
It's getting close. It's only 3 days.
Yeah. You got any thoughts on what we might be able to expect, I guess, in the answer to what's going to happen there, developments, but then price-wise in the ecosystem?
I think I don't want to jump the gun, because every time something positive happens, something negative hits us and smacks us in the face.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm just maintaining very cautious optimism. Yeah. About a balanced, optimistic look. Obviously, it seems like at least on the surface, it seems pretty clear that it's going to be blue skies after the 21st, especially given that we haven't heard anything right with regard to the SEC trying to push through any kind of amendments to their claim. So I think if that was going to happen, we would have already seen it by now. And now with only 3 days to go, it seems like, yeah, it's a given with regard to the outcome. But so what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, that's a great view. Like, I want what you're just saying. That's what I want to happen. But I just think that they wouldn't have opened it up, to put a rebuttal in if they're not going to. So I'm really thinking that there'll be some kind of push for an amendment, on or before that date that could kick the can down the road a little bit. But that's just because I'm just staying sort of, like you said, very cautious about it. I'm not getting totally bullish just yet. And yeah, we'll just wait and see what happens. I think if you don't expect, the best of it, you're not going to get too disappointed when
the lower the expectations, the lower the disappointments. So that's the common cliche, and it definitely works. Applies to life just as much as it does to crypto. So
100%.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be going to be an interesting time. I mean, like Fast Abdul said, if it gets dropped, if they don't basically submit anything and it gets dropped on the day, and then that's sealed off and done for now, man, it could get bullish and very crazy, especially as we saw some ETH getting thrown around and put into Tornado Cash, and there might be some things getting squared off to create some good potential here. So I think either way it's just a matter of time, but the time might be sooner than we think.
Yeah, and just to expand on that, I mean, from all intents and purposes, Richard actually won the case already, like at the beginning of March.
Yeah.
And so this add-on extension is very absurd to me. Yeah. There's no real legal weight to it, in my eyes. It's more just I think it's just a matter of just them trying to save face, dragging it out for as long as they can, because they can get away with dragging it out with that extension. But so I think it's merely just a technicality, a formality, just to go through this, this extra 30 days that we've had to be in this sort of realm of weird uncertainty around it. But even with the most probable outcome in our favor, which will most likely happen from the 21st onward, we can only hope that it's going to have a positive ripple effect on the price, which is not necessarily guaranteed. But the bullish part of it is that we've already seen the buy the rumor, sell the news dump, because I think it was February 28th, March 1st, around that time. There was sort of bullish price action lead up to that point, sort of like acting like a buy the rumor, sell the news event. And when the event happened, then we've seen the pullback, sell off since that, the reaction on that news, that reaction pump. So now that's sort of been washed out now, and we're already, when you look at the price chart, we're starting to see a nice sort of grind / glide up from the new, the recent local low. I think the timing of it as well, in the context of where the price chart is now, I think overall it's going to be positive, even if there's not going to be an initial like crazy green candle style reaction initially. But I think once it's actually,
I think there will be.
Yeah, go ahead, Fast Abdul.
Yeah,
I think there will be initial green candles. Like if the case gets dismissed, there's money on the sidelines waiting for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
definitely. I think all round, there'll be money waiting to go, especially people that pulled out a while ago, with all this fear going on, and just waiting for that day as well to get back in, because they know that it's a very bullish chain, that there's a lot of positive things going on, the decentralized nature, all of those things that we always talk about, and they just didn't want to sit through the pain of it. So, they might have sold and might just be waiting for confirmation to go bang. And I think that's probably how a lot of the whales work. They need confirmation. So yeah. Speaking of, that's right. We got one more here. We got the talking bull just rocked up to join us.
How's everyone going?
Presence,
How is everyone?
What's going on, 43? Good to see you, mate.
Yeah, good. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it, as I said in the chat, True Blue, but
it's cool.
Here I am. So yeah, what have you been talking about?
Beautiful. We've been covering a few things. One was the ESM trigger with the PDI. Fast Abdul sort of gave us a wrap on that. And yeah, the ink printer protocol, a few different things.
Have you guys talked about what you would ideally like in a wallet?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on the wallet. What's your list of ideals?
Okay. Well, I don't have a list in front of me. I just as a general discussion piece, I thought I could put it out there. I'm interested to know what you guys think, but if you're going to put me on the spot, I'm probably thinking that now that there's a bit of there's a bit of the whole tornado thing has subsided. There's some ZK. I think there's some ZK layer stuff that could happen in relation to anonymity and privacy on with wallets. I think that would be a fantastic thing for just to the next step, because that's really what's lacking just in everyday sort of transaction stuff. If you want to transact with a person who you don't want to know, your history or what, at what price you got in or whatever, that's just basic human privacy that we all enjoy on a daily basis when we're using, money to buy goods and services. So, why shouldn't that be the case when it comes to transacting on these platforms? So for me, that would be right up there, and it can be done. I think now the contracts exist, the open source software exists, that it could be done in a way that is, I don't want to say at arm's length, but like someone else created it and I'm just forking it type thing,
Beautiful. I didn't have that on my list, but that would be a huge development, in crypto in general, to have that built into a wallet. And to make it simple, because definitely, even there's a lot of people that run businesses now that want to be able to migrate over to crypto and take crypto as payments, but then all of a sudden you're faced with that dilemma of your workers, your employees or whatnot, also seeing how much you've got in there. So if you can create
like
privacy in that way, it is huge. It's a basic
expectation that we all have in everyday transactions that we engage in. It's just a basic thing that we all just expect, yet for some reason it's not the norm in crypto. So I think, and it doesn't have to be the norm. There might be some things, some wallets that need to be transparent, but I think just people would benefit greatly from that sort of innovation.
That would get some massive eyes on that project as well, and anything that it's tied to, because of how unique that would be. So, yeah,
I'm interested to know what the boys think.
Yeah. What do you reckon, T-Bird? What are you thinking about the new wallet that's sort of been talked about? You got any ideals that you'd like to have on there?
Oh, look, I think with regard to Richard Hart's wallet, a lot of it is very speculative still at this point, because there's no. I mean, he's obviously made it pretty clear that it's it's I mean, just in his recent tweet or multiple tweets, that it's on the verge of coming out. But we've all known that it's been in it's been behind closed doors and it's been in the works for a very long time now. And in terms of like features, like I think we've all now been mucking around with DeFi for long enough where we kind of have a good understanding of what works and what doesn't, and what features are cool and which aren't. I'm definitely personally a big fan of the Internet Money Wallet, and I've actually liked some of the responses that KG has done, especially in response to that specific tweet that Richard made regarding his wallet. It actually got a surprisingly more traction than I thought it would, but also not surprised because KG's wallet product was already in the process of being built out even before PulseChain launched. And so on that subject, by the way, I just want to let you guys know while I'm on the stream too, I'm in the process of finalizing doing a special guest conversation stream with KG himself on my channel in a couple of weeks from now.
Awesome.
So I'm going
awesome,
to be I'm going to be asking him a lot of questions about his product specifically, and also a lot of questions regarding how he perceives Richard Hart's wallet, the place that Richard Hart's wallet plays with respect to his own product, and how they might synergize, or how they might end up being in conflict potentially. Who knows? But it's definitely DeFi wallets are definitely we definitely need more of them. The more the merrier, because we've seen what's happened to MetaMask. MetaMask has become completely co-opted, pretty much owned and operated by consensus centralized parties. Who knows what? It's just a total shit show. And then you've got Rabby that's done what they've done to us recently, which is completely against DeFi and crypto principles in a lot of ways. So so with Internet Money Wallet coupled with
that still doesn't make sense to me. That's still like something, we're missing something out of that whole like scenario. Like what are we missing? I don't know what it is, but we're definitely missing a piece of information.
No, I think I agree that with that, but at the same time, it's not really like that like missing. Like, it's pretty clear that for a company to just blackball or blacklist a chain, a bona fide chain that was already integrated with them, is a blatant sign of bad faith, and they're most likely to have parties behind the scenes that are bought off, either because they have a personal vendetta against Richard Hart, or some kind of conflict with Richard Hart for whatever reason. We know that Richard Hart over the years definitely would have some unsavory characters that don't like him, that have clout and have an impact in the DeFi space. So I just think
what I don't get about, like, I've thought about this a lot, and I don't quite see that could be what happened. But what doesn't make sense to me is, like, why support us for so long and then do that? So that's what makes me think it's like someone's tapped them on the shoulder and said something. Someone's tapped them It's not them. It's like someone higher up, whether it be a VC or even like a 3-letter agency or whatever, has tapped them on the shoulder and said, "Hey, we want some info," or
simply we want you to take this chain off to make it difficult for them, or we'll make it difficult. It's like it's mafia style. When you have enough financial clout, high up enough in the crypto world, or what Richard Hart himself even terms the crypto scam industrial complex, and the kind of people that they can be connected to, it's not really that far fetched that they can get, as you term it, the tap on the shoulder and be like, you got to play ball with us, or there's going to be consequences, or something along those lines, basically.
Yeah. Another possibility is that it was just a financial decision made by, a bunch of guys with briefcases and brown leather shoes. Because, like, think about, like, where did Rabby make money from PulseChain? Like, where was the profit? Right? Like, there's no.
Well, they could have, though.
They didn't have a bridging function set up. There is no reason for people to use some sort of in-wallet swaps in Rabby. They could have done things to make money, but as it sat, probably most of the profit they made was via debank to premium users who were, running contests and, like paying for advertising and stuff like that. And it wouldn't have been substantial.
You
They
don't
could have actually been losing money supporting PulseChain.
you Fast Abdul, do you think, I mean, I feel like they could have easily monetized our community, like very easily. A small percentage on swaps or whatever. There's always going to be like a lot of us would not have used it, but there's always going to be people who don't know any better who will just use the wallet and then just use the in-house buttons and stuff. So I feel like, to me, they could have monetized it quite easily if they wanted to.
They could have, but we're a strange bunch, right? Because you have people putting through thousands of transactions, doing tiny arbitrages, like cross-chain swaps and bridging back and forth, as well as like using their debank app, constantly, right? With multiple tabs open, like this community has a potential to draw a lot of, a lot of the traffic out of systems like that, like especially with the debank add-on, I had guys using it all day long to do all sorts of different tasks, running, thousands of searches on things. Like it would really add up for server costs and that kind of thing. And like with there not being like a good centralized exchange that had Pulse, it kind of makes a barrier to entry for bridging, which I think is one of the main functions that the wallets could have to make money, is being like, and Rabby actually announced like, oh, we're gonna have a PulseChain bridge inside the wallet, right? And then that was relatively shortly before they canceled it. So I would wonder if they found out, oh, we can't do this because there's no centralized exchange that we can run through for unlimited Pulse. We actually would have to buy it ourselves. Like that sort of software as a service stuff. It's like it's a pretty risky business model, and most things like that fail, right? It's not a high profit industry. So they could have like tokenized it. They could have done a bunch of stuff. They would have had to reach out to the community and work with us, right? Which not very many wallets do. So it would have been a very different picture if they were able to pull that off, but it might have not been something they're comfortable with. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I completely destroyed them on Twitter, but
yeah, I think we all did. We all.
But we also saw another wallet that popped up called Atlas Wallet. I don't know if you guys remember that one. They started to make quite a bit of noise, I think about a few weeks ago, or maybe closer to around when Pump Tires launched, or maybe a bit further back. Yes, I'm pretty sure they're still very active, and they've definitely reached out to our community and expressed their respect and for our engagement, especially our social media engagement and all that, and our marketing. So I think it's only a matter of time before more and more wallets that are less mainstream will start to fill the vacuum, fill the void of what's being created by wallets like MetaMask and Rabby and those ones.
What about the OKX wallet? Does that work? That seems to work.
I remember Richard mentioned that, I think, in one of his tweets. I sort of looked into it a little bit, but it also has some of its problems. And OKX wallet is also, I'm pretty sure, is at least somewhat associated with the OKX exchange, which is the exchange that delisted us, like right after the SEC started attacking us. So I don't know. I looked into it enough where I didn't sort of garner enough incentive to start like really going deep into it and using the OKX wallet. So yeah, until they actually come out and say, yeah, we're definitely 100% supporting PulseChain, and something along those lines, then start to take a proper look. But I mean, for now, it is what it is.
I'd really love to see in a wallet like an ability to sign transactions offline, rather than always being connected to the internet to do stuff. Obviously that's not going to work if you're trading coins, but there's some transactions that you do which they're going to be what they are. Like the signature is going to be what it is. So that would be good.
Yeah. So 43 of you in the tweet.
Some danger in reinventing the wheel here.
Yeah. So 43, the Richard Hart tweet on the wallet itself when he was asking for community feedback, which is staple Richard Hart, by the way. Did you put in did you actually put a comment there expressing all the things that you wanted to see on it?
I did not.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea, because my guess would be that he will be checking every single comment that will be put out in reply to his tweet specifically on the wallet. So if there's specific features that you want to see, I would put it in the comments for sure. And that goes for anyone else that has been thinking about what trying to put put out there what they want to a sort of at least an overview list of what they would like to see on the wallet that they haven't seen in other wallets, or what has worked on other wallets that Richard should include in his. Definitely jump into Twitter and check his tweet. And I think there'd be like at least hundreds and hundreds of comments on that tweet. So
there's definitely a bit to sift through on that one, and some all really good points. I do love the idea of internet money, working together, with his team or whatever to develop the internet money wallet. But we all know that, Richard also likes to do things himself, which is a little bit probably of his pride, but also of having a good product and knowing where it was built and that he's the one that's behind it.
And there's no way that Richard hasn't had a look at Internet Money Wallet by now.
Oh, for sure.
Especially with some of its major upgrades in the last few months. Because even just the bridging, the in-house bridging that's on the Internet Money Wallet now is pretty cool. I've enjoyed using that.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah, it's fast. I've enjoyed it as well. Yeah.
Surprisingly fast.
Definitely. There was that point as well when the when the last SEC case news came in that Richard had won the case. It was actually quite easy while the bridge was completely blocked. Not too bad actually doing it straight on the Internet Money Wallet at that point. It sort of worked out all right.
100%.
So it's very cool. While you're all here and there's more than just two of us to talk about it, what are you thinking in the way of the general, I guess, Bitcoin, I guess, where that's going to be moving and when? We've sort of seen it, tracking sideways recently. And I was saying it'd be nice to see it get up above the sort of 90 to 95,000 mark. 43 and T-Bird, do you see that happening anytime soon?
It's hard to say. I guess it sort of depends on how the rest of April plays out and the monthly close on April. If the monthly is green at the end of this month, then we could actually see an unexpectedly, because I mean traditionally, if you look back in previous year across crypto history, May tends to be like predominantly a down month.
Yeah.
But then again, like with the amount of downside action that we've seen over the last 4 to 5 months, across Ethereum and the EVML ones that are connected to Ethereum and all that, if we actually get a green monthly on April, that would probably spark the beginning stages of the momentum up to the upside, tracking for the rest of 2025 as a sort of like a conformational reversal is probably what we'd see. But on the flip side, if it's a red monthly in April, if it finishes red, maybe not as much. So there's every chance that we could see sort of a bit of a sideways chop, maybe a little bit, sort of ranging in the sort of 80 to 90 range, all the way up until the end of May. And then when the Northern Hemisphere summer begins in June, that's when things start to, properly gain momentum to the upside. But again, this is all just speculation.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all speculation. Absolutely. Yeah, look, I'm going to give up on trying to predict what's going to happen in this cycle, because up until this point, nothing I've thought has come to pass. So I'm gonna sit back and just listen to other people, predict what's
Other
going to happen.
people guess. Yeah, I was hoping you'd say that, because I'm feeling the same. You did get one thing pretty close, which was the run up in December, 43. But yeah, look, I'm sort of if I was to take a wild stab, I'm hoping late May we sort of start to get some positive price action with Bitcoin. I think it's going to be a little bit quiet until then. So
I can tell you what I want to happen or what I'd like to happen, but we need to distinguish that between, as a prediction. I definitely want the price to go up heaps. Price go up heaps, please, pretty please, with sugar on top.
Exactly. Yep. That would be a nice one. I saw this, actually, first off, I saw this comment from UFO. Is that false news?
Yeah, I was about to mention that before. I was looking at that comment. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. Well, look, if he did, then I definitely could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he didn't buy, or Cardano didn't Ruby Wallet.
Yeah, well, let's just say, let's say for argument's sake that this is real and it's true, then that would, in a lot of ways, explain the conflict of interest. Yep. Because of even though technically, Charles came out and apologized after, Richard officially won against the SEC, the amount of hostility that he's put out there against Richard Hart in our community has not been concealed. Like, he's been very upfront about his positions on our ecosystem and Richard himself over the years. So if he's bought out Rabby, then he's going to want to be, he's probably going to have, even with his apology, he'll have sort of inherent kind of sort of passive aggressive hostility, if that's the right way of putting it. I
think so too. Yeah. I'm not sure about that. If anyone can give us some facts on that would be great. McNuggets, you're a legend. Thanks for coming on and to say g'day. And Yaveen's there as well. Internet Money Wallet, doesn't have the same UI, and there's a few features, short of Rabby, but they're working on it. They're working on a browser. That's right. And they're going to have.
That's right. It's only a matter of time before Internet Money gets those features that it's currently missing.
Yeah, and they're building from scratch as well. So they're doing it, trying to do it once and do it right, and building it from scratch. And they don't collect any data or anything like that. So it's not. It's seems to be so far one of the safest and best ones to be using.
They have a 24-word seed phrase.
And exactly, that one too.
Right, like that makes it exponentially harder to hack.
Yeah,
I think KG deserves a lot of credit for doing putting that wallet together, and I've used it, and I think it's great. I agree with that comment that there's a couple of little things, but these things, it takes time, because I don't know how big their team is or if it's just him. So he must have a long list of things that he needs to get to, and that's not I don't think that's a quick and easy. Like, if you've got like a long list of things to get to, then you just have to work through them bit by bit. So yeah, I'm sure it's going to continue to improve. And I would, there's one thing when it opens up in a browser tab, and I find that if I'm on a tab already, that sort of throws me off a little bit. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I've only noticed that, but that's only occurred very recently. Like for the longest time, it would open up like sort of like as like a normal extension would, like on the side.
Yes.
Yeah, but only just I think in the last week, or less than a week, it started doing that, which has sort of annoyed me a little bit. But
I'm not throwing shade at KG. It's fantastic wallet. That does not, that little thing. I mean, so much software has little things that can be, get in the way. And I just noticed that the other day that it was like this little thing. It's like, because it sort of just threw me out of I was on a tab, and then it just threw me out of like where I was, what I was doing. So, I'm sure that could get solved pretty easily.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And their tech support, so to speak. I know you need to be wary of tech support with wallets, but they're actually out there on X and stuff like that. If you were to just put that in as a post and tag them, they'll reply straight away and probably say they're on a fix for it or whatnot. They're like around the clock on there, which is amazing. Definitely.
Yeah. 17 scammers will also reply. So be very cautious.
Exactly. Yeah. Be very cautious. That's right. Old wallet. I haven't heard of that one. Supposing, is it a new wallet? But yeah, we need to get a link to that or something to have a look, but I haven't heard of it. And I did Google it and it didn't pop up. I'm
not sure about the branding, but yeah, I'll definitely have a look at it.
Yeah, exactly. Unless it stands for something else. But yes. UFO was just having a dig at Charles. Yeah, fair enough. I know he has, we all have our moments with old Charlie. What's this one? Yeah. Well, having the PulseX exchange into the wallet would be a no-brainer, wouldn't it? Definitely be a great way to integrate all of that and just even hot, multi-chain swaps would be amazing if they'd do that. And with privacy, my goodness, we'd be on a good wicket then.
Better to have an aggregator in the wallet than just a PulseX exchange, right? Like internet money uses like an aggregator of aggregators format. You're gonna you're gonna get a better deal most of the time if you use that technology, unless you're only buying Richard Heart tokens, at which point PulseX is often competitive, but it's not 100% competitive even in that scenario.
100% correct. 100% correct. Just like even the Coast platform have Pateus integrated in their platform to do swaps on there, which is one of the major aggregators on PulseChain. So yeah, it makes perfect sense to use an aggregator versus just the PulseX exchange.
Yeah, very good point. Which makes me think then which aggregator would it use? Because he doesn't often want to promote other things either. So yeah.
Do you guys think that because most other wallets are extensions, right? That you have to go into the Chrome store and download. What are your thoughts on a wallet that you're downloading as like a program like that you're downloading, and then it would still need to have, I guess, some sort of extension that goes in to connect that wallet to a browser. But like, what are your thoughts? Like, there's a wallet called Frame, which does it that way rather than the extension is really just sort of a connection to the program that you run on your desktop. What do you think of something like that?
Yeah, why not? Like, I could see him like with making PulseX decentralized. With you can download the software, etc. Like maybe you just download the software for the wallet and run it on your home computer yourself, right? Update it yourself, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to do it that way and have the option. But I just think about adoption for newer users that probably aren't so keen to go that deep just yet, but yeah, I think both options. Why not have both? That's the best way to go, for sure.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, if you did the wallet exclusively, like how some of the privacy stuff that we've seen roll out take place, yeah, it can end up serving as too much of a barrier for adoption. And crypto overall has an adoption problem as it is, especially now with all the madness that we've seen play out over the last few years since FTX. We don't need to to add more reasons for people to be too scared to jump in. So, and I think that's in a lot of ways that's what made Solana go do its thing last year, up until it topped out in January, was because all the facilitation that's done on their chain is its primary focus is on speed and adoption versus decentralization security. So it sort of comes back to the blockchain trilemma. You know, which elements in the blockchain do you want to focus on, and you're going to have to make compromises on one or even two of the three pieces of the puzzle.
In your experience, T-Bird, do you think RH is going to compromise on security?
Knowing Richard, he probably won't, even at the expense of. Well, it's a tough one. It's even hard for me to say, because we all know how much he cares and prizes adoption.
If you're going to make it, let me put it this way: you're making a wallet. What is the prime function of a wallet? To secure your private keys.
Yes, but
and interact with the blockchain.
In the crypto landscape that we live in today, people don't care about that stuff.
I do.
Yeah, but you're the minority.
Okay, but I'm just not going to use the wallet if it compromises on security, right?
Yeah, but yeah, again, I'm speaking like in the context of the trilemma thing. It's more blockchain related. I'm not talking about like a specific aspect of blockchain, like with wallets and whatever. Obviously, Richard is going to be really meticulous about it. He's going to make sure that he's got the security part of it down pat. But I think it'd be wise for him to not make security the primary. Well, to not what's the word I'm looking for? To make security such a high priority over adoption that we don't actually end up getting adoption on it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, there needs to be that ease of use as well.
There has to be a balance between the two.
So your thesis is that the wallet is going to be made to spur adoption?
I think he's going to try to find a healthy balance between security and adoption.
But
what if he makes a hardware wallet?
Man, that would be interesting. That'd be another one. Yeah.
What if he made a what?
Hardware wallet, Fast Abdul said. He broke up a little bit there.
A hardware wallet.
It's possible.
Does anyone follow Peter Sillage, the Geth guy? On when I say the Geth guy, I think he's the lead dev or the lead guy in Geth. I've been following it. Like he's building something. Like he's building, like I don't know what he's building. He might be building a wallet, but he's definitely building something. It's interesting, man. Just listening to his tweets, he's getting like boards made and they're like testing them, and he's never done any of this before, but it's just interesting to follow what he's doing at the moment. But a hardware wallet, that would be, I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think that's a bad move, a hardware wallet. Can I tell you why? Because the scalability of it sucks, right? Whereas if you just make a software wallet, the scalability is like infinite immediately. Correct. So yeah. I think hardware, you have to like, so just imagine how people like react to RH products and then he goes and makes a hardware wallet, which people have to then trust him to go buy, I think that could backfire, something like that.
I agree with
I would buy it. Like me personally, I'd buy it. But the question
yeah.
is, if you're going to production,
I think Rich just knowing him wouldn't go down that route, because he knows like all the different issues that can arise with the hardware wallet. Plus, he'd think about it from a business standpoint and a marketing standpoint as well. And you've got
I would definitely buy it though. I just want to put this out there. He could release.
You've got companies like Trezor that basically it has a monopoly on the hardware wallet sector.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a fan. I'm not a like I use. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Trezor. Not a fan.
Well, I'm definitely a fan, and I know that there are millions of other people that are fans as well. So you're going up against.
I know everyone is. I just don't like it. I just don't like how I have to go to their server every time I do a transaction. Why the fuck do I have to go to your server every time I want to look at an address in a browser, and every time I need to do a transaction? It's like, why? Why do I got to go to your centralized server every single time? I thought this is a hardware wallet where the private keys are on the hardware wallet. Why is something logging on your server every single time I interact with it? That sucks in my mind. To me, that fucking sucks, man.
Yes, yeah, but you gotta understand, that's still like just to maintain objectivity around that position. That's largely a minority, because the people that are heavy into security, the amount of crypto users that are heavy into security and technicality and technicals like you is like extremely small.
It's just data mining. Why are they collecting that data? Why? I just don't get it.
Yeah. I'm not saying I agree with it, but in purely just in the context of without pigeonholing that one aspect and taking the product, like that big picture aspect of the product itself, as a hardware wallet, its functionality, it's that you want to attribute the.
I like it's open source. I like it's open source.
Sure, yeah, open source. It's been around in the market for a long time. It's been fully battle tested. It's got a lot of positive features. Like
it does.
I wouldn't like with all the hardware wallets that are very like highly commercialized in the marketplace. I'll never touch a ledger again. I used to muck around with ledgers a little bit, like in the early years when I first started in crypto. But I'm glad I stopped using it, because I actually found that from a functionality standpoint, Trezor's like absolutely dominated over Ledger. And then we saw some of the security breaches and privacy breaches that happened with Ledger as well. So that was like even further incentive to just get away from Ledger. So Trezor for me is like, and I even like sort of trial tested like a couple of other hardware wallets that weren't as commercial or mainstream, and they're kind of cool in certain respects. But at the end of the day, like knowing how most the collective human mind works. Especially when it comes to like a relatively new industry, and when it comes to financial stuff with crypto, people will tend to lean towards a product that's battle tested and has a good functionality and ease of functionality.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if there was another wallet that people saw as a third one to Trezor than Ledger. Because over time, if something happens with Trezor or Ledger and there is another compromise or something,
dude, there's heaps.
There's heaps, but there's usually just those two that are really talked about. Do you know what I mean? And well known. I know that there's a lot more, commercially.
I've heard Papa Bona talk about this, and I 100% agree. Like his perspective when it comes to hardware development in China, and these hardware wallets that are developed in China. I agree with his perspective. If you've ever heard him give it in relation to these wallets, so
yes, definitely.
I 100% respect that. There's another part of me. I've heard other people debate and discuss the difference between general purpose computing, like using a general purpose computer as your wallet, versus a secure enclave like a hardware wallet. You got arguments going both ways, and I think for the average person, I think It's got to be like a hardware wallet. But
But
for other people who understand some of the privacy pitfalls, you might just want to go with other software on a system that's just locked down hard.
Yeah, anyway, just getting back to the bottom line with regard to Richard Hart's wallet, I think ultimately his best play, in my opinion, is to do a hot wallet, similar to what Phantom has done, something like a MetaMask or a Rabi equivalent, and just basically injecting the best possible features you can put into it. And then, of course, you've got hardware wallet integration with that, just like how MetaMask and Rabi works as well. But he's going to, knowing Richard, he's going to look at making sure that both security and adoption are both heavily factored in equally. And he'll be looking to make it a little bit more cutting edge than the others. So he'll be looking at adding some extra features that the other wallets won't have. So I think if he just does another hot wallet and just doing like a full just carbon copy of the other ones, it may not end up getting enough traction. So
I mean, is it going to be focused on the PulseChain community, or are you thinking like where is this wallet like extending its arms out to get new users? Because that's like, it seems like.
Well, I think he has to do it like Internet Money Wallet. He has to branch out, make it multi-chain compatible. Yeah, he can't make it like fully isolationary, if that's a word.
Agreed.
Otherwise, we end up, it's sort of like the whole, echo chamber thing. If we stay fully enclosed in our own ecosystem with the wallet, then it may not end up inspiring people from other chains and other networks and people outside of crypto in general to come in.
Yeah, and I think cross chain is the future.
I think I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just wonder, like if he makes, let's say, a Pulse wallet or whatever he wants to call it, that is the wallet you download if you want to use PulseChain, and then everything to do with PulseChain is going to work flawlessly, right? Apart from PDI, but everything else is working flawlessly, right? So, like, that is for the user base. But to get people to then come to the chain, is the wallet the mechanism? Is the wallet the marketing? I don't think so. I think the wallet is just where people, like a destination where you go when you decide you want to get some Pulse stuff. Like you can go there, and then ideally you can come in from other chains if you want to. If you want to come in from BNB, if you want to come in from Ethereum, if you want to come in from insert any other EVM compatible chain, that would make sense, and possibly even some sort of integration with. I would really love to see some sort of integration with ThorSwap. I would love to see Pulse in there, but I don't know if that's in the chain's interests or not. I don't know.
I think I think it needs to have some sort of cross-chain stuff going on, or obviously at least being able to add other chains to the wallet, for sure. George Chop said a good one about on-ramping being a key feature of a Richard Hart wallet, which I know Internet Money is also working on at the moment. But yeah, having that as part of a RH wallet, I agree. It'd be a damn good feature. That and secure, definitely the two big ones.
It's always going to be a challenge, like on-ramping purely through DeFi means as well. Yeah. But I can definitely say that the Coast crew, Stoic and the Aussie guys over there, have done an incredible job building out what they've built out with Ox Coast. I've used their platform a few times, and yeah, I'm definitely impressed with the feature build out that they've got on their platform in the context of on-ramping and off-ramping.
Can you go into that a little bit, T-Bird? Like just with the Coast, is that because I thought that was just for US? Like
no, it's international, bro. They've got approval. They've got approvals across countries all over, including Australia. I've been using it on and off since like at least a year. I've been using it
because there was a period of time when it wasn't working like it wasn't working for a little while, but then they
yeah,
got that back online.
Yeah, they temporarily had an issue with the bank or one of the centralized parties they were working with, but then after they switched to the new one, everything has been going very smoothly for them.
So in the US, they're partnered with Old Glory. That was my last understanding of what they'd partnered with that bank in the US. So to get funds to them, do you have to like do a telegraphic transfer, a wire to them?
I don't know. I'm not in the US, so I don't know how the process works.
No, I'm talking about Australia. Like if you're in Australia and you want to get money onto that platform, how do you do that?
You do it through Wise. The Wise, and I don't know if you're familiar with them, either Wise or Revolut, and they have their own debit cards as well.
Okay, so is that a limited? Like you can't do big amounts though, can you?
Yeah, you can do sizable amounts,
like 5 figures.
I'm not sure. Again, you'd have to double check. And this is another thing. They've actually got like a fully retrofitted, if that's the right word, customer service crew for their service. So when you go onto their website and you have any questions, they have a team like on standby, constantly, like ready to answer any questions you have through the entire process of getting on ramp for the first time, which is also extremely cool. Which is like I don't know if any other like DeFi on ramping facility has.
So if you're in Australia and you want to on ramp via the Coast, platform, you need to get either a Wise or Revolut account.
Well, yeah, just follow the steps. You just go to their website, and it basically summarizes the steps of how to go about it.
But you would then need to transfer funds from your regular bank account into your Wise, and then from there you could send it to their platform from your Wise or Revolut. Then you send it to their platform, and then you've got the funds on the platform, and you do whatever you want to do with it.
So I set up a Wise account, and then I do everything through the Wise account. Like you don't actually need to.
When you set up your Wise account, you need to fund it.
When I set it up, I did it like quite a while ago, so I can't remember off the top of my head exactly, the precise steps, from start to finish. But it's relatively straightforward.
Yeah, there's still a little bit to it. Like there's still quite a few steps. Like I know, at one stage, Matty Allen was talking about, how do we reduce the steps? That was a bit of a focus of his. There's still quite a few, just like using a centralized exchange to get onto PulseChain. I like using OX Coast as well, but the only downfall that I have with them, and it might be different, I know in the US it's pretty much an instant transfer in, but there's a hold up on my side by using Wise to get from Wise onto DeFi, basically onto the OX platform. There's at least a day to 2 days to get across there. I don't know if it's different for you, T-Bird, but there's definitely a delay for me.
Yeah, I think for me, it's been a while since I've used it though, even though I have used it a number of times. And but I do recognize what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's the only downfall I see at the moment, is just that time it takes to get across. But
that's tough, man. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because do you know why that's tough? And I'm not throwing shade at all. I'm just saying it like it is. There's a lot of exchanges, Australian-based exchanges, where you can. There's that thing called OSCO in Australia. That thing where it gets there immediately, and you can OSCO across. If you've got a limit, maybe up to 50 grand, maybe, or 30 grand, or whatever I don't know what the limit is, but you can OSCO, and it will show up into exchanges immediately. I'm not saying an hour later, half an hour. No, immediately. Show up in your exchange account, and then you can be swapping that into Ethereum and bridging, and then sending it out to your account, and then bridging to PulseChain. And in all that process, the biggest time that it takes that I've found is the bridging from Ethereum to PulseChain.
Yeah.
And like I could probably get it all done in under an hour, you know. That's from dollars in the bank account to an exchange through Osco, which is immediate, buy up but the Ethereum, send it out of the exchange, which is, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I think they've got a number of blocks they want to see come through, or confirmations they want to see come through. Goes, you go out to your Ethereum address, and then from there you can bridge across to, not bridge, you can come across the bridge. Yeah, bridge across to PulseChain from Ethereum. And I mean, if that the reason why I ask those questions about Coast is because I would absolutely love to see them have some sort of partnership with a bank in Australia.
Yeah,
that would be like top notch. Them having some sort of agreement.
One of the big four would be massive.
And anyone would be fine. Like realistically, the way our banking system is in Australia, even like a lesser bank would be absolutely fine. It's just with these Wise and Resolute, they are smaller transaction, services.
I've tried, and just so you know, just on that subject, I've tried both Wise and Revolut in the context of the Coast platform, and I actually had all kinds of problems with Revolut, but I found that everything with Wise was a lot more seamless. So if there are any Aussies listening to this or watching this, and you're looking and you haven't set up an account with Coast, and you're thinking about on-ramping and off-ramping using Coast, don't do it with Revolut, do it with Wise. You'll have a much easier time.
I think the US users would have an awesome time with Coast, because they can have they can open up an account with Old Glory Bank, and then they can just do it that way. And then it would be really seamless. It would be, I bet you they've worked it out so it's really quick and seamless. And I'd love to see that. I'd really love to see that in Australia, but it goes to show you what type of heavy-handed regulation we have in Australia that I bet you these guys have tried, and they probably hit brick walls left, right, and center.
They have. Yeah. Indeed. I know they'd continue to try as well. And I know for one, they definitely wouldn't get with the Commonwealth Bank. That is for sure. There's some other ones that, make it easy, but I know for one, the Commonwealth Bank, delay transfers going into exchanges as well, for your own safety, which is why people choose other ones. Yeah, exactly. But no, it's a good platform, the OX Coast, just that little delay there that we have here. And you've got to take into account there's a fee with Wise as well, because you're exchanging from Australian to US dollars as part of that. So there's also a fee there. So
the audacity of a bank to question what you're doing with your money, the audacity.
Absolutely.
I'm so disgusted by it.
Yeah.
I'm so, people work their asses off to earn their money. They pay their taxes. Their money's in their bank account. If you want to go buy some digital assets, it's none of their business. It's none of their business.
Yep. 100%. There's a good post here from this guy, Fast Abdul. No gas required to buy RH tickers. Yeah, that would be very nice.
You could do it.
Indeed.
Like it's kind of a moon idea, but like imagine a wallet where like, oh, you're buying an RH ticker. Like, yeah, there's no gas. That comes from somewhere else, right? Or you get refunded the gas after you make the buy. Obviously, you'd have to make it so people couldn't game it, but yeah, I could see it being a thing.
That would be sweet. Hey, I'm going to look to wrap it up shortly. But there was something else I wanted to...
I was just going to say, just on that point, you'd have to be careful for the Zen people. Yeah, you'd have to make sure the Zen people can't game that.
No, just RH assets, right? Like, oh, you're buying Hex, you're buying PulseX. Like, oh yeah, there's no gas for that, but there's lots of gas for minting Zen. Like, it'd be, which is what they want anyway. So that's fine.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. They're chasing the high gas. That's right. Does anyone know about any hints towards this stuff that Dip Catcher's on about? That he's trying to make Hex better, Hex on Ethereum?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's been constantly like sort of putting out tweets like for quite a while now to sort of consistently highlight like the so-called deficiencies in Hex, and he harps on a lot about Hex on Ethereum being the superior one, just Ethereum being the superior network, and what he's done in terms of like the stuff that he's launched like in Solana and the stuff he's done on Solana. So a lot of the stuff I'll take with a grain of salt for the most part.
Indeed, me too. I mean, a lot of the things that look, I love the Deci and Maxi and all that, all of the perpetual coins that they've done with the stakes. It's great stuff. But yeah, we'll see. He's done some great ones and some things that haven't worked out too well. So he's working all the time though, which is nice. Do you know anything about that, Fast Abdul or 43?
I don't have the inside track on that one. I've heard this black hole concept before though. It's sort of like an infinite loop that keeps burning the token somehow. So likely it has something to do with that, where it's like he's got a system where he's hoping that lots of hex gets burned if people use the system, but like if it's just like a tax token with an external mechanism, somehow it will have the lifespan of a tax token. So I am curious to see what he does though. He's smart. Like I've talked to him. He's a real dev and he's thinking deep thoughts. So I do want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
I've only heard of that tweet like now, but yeah, I'm always interested to hear what Dipcatcher has going on. We'll see.
And he doesn't speak for like to be cool, right? Like he's not going to say the thing you want to hear. That's not his style. Like he's just there's no filter. It's just coming through. So, and most devs don't speak at all. Like you guys will never meet any of my devs, right? Like they don't want to talk to us. Like they want to be behind a screen and be typing, right? That's what they do. So like to have access to a guy like that, like, let's see what he can come up with.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yep. You keep your devs locked up in the basement. We've got Dipcatcher out here speaking in public. Exactly. That's good stuff. There was a comment from UFO about a Ring wallet. I just want to bring it up because I find it a bit funny. But I know like Ledger has a lanyard that you can buy and like a pouch to hang it around your neck. And it's like, man, if that just scares the crap out of me. I know some people would have it as like, how cool am I? Or as like very small amount of funds, maybe. But I did a quick scroll down here. 43 is going to, I know you're already cringing, 43. But where's this? Sorry. Somewhere here. Here we go. Theft proof. If it ever gets misplaced, you can rest assured it's safe. You can order a new ring and you can restore it because your old ring is useless without your biometric verification. So 43.
Awesome. It's called a $5 box cutter attack.
Yeah, you got to take the finger and the ring to get the biometrics. I would assume. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, that's good stuff. Thanks for that, UFO. That was a good laugh.
But yeah, wearing the treasure around your neck, or on your finger for everybody to see, like that's probably a really bad plan.
I reckon it's a shocker. Yeah, definitely wouldn't catch me doing that, but somebody would. All right. Do we got any last words? I'm going to wrap it up in a sec, but anything else you want to give us, 43?
No, I'm done. I'm looking forward to what happens on Monday to see whether the SEC submits anything or not, whether they'll let the judge's dismissal lie as is, or whether they'll want to kick the can down the road a bit further. Either way, guys, I think we've been grinding along for so long that what's another 60 days? Hey, what's another 60 days?
60 days. 60 days is a lifetime in crypto, mate. You know that.
That I do, but we've been here for so long, grinding along for so long. What's another 60 days, you know? And the thing is that the judge was very explicit in her dismissal, extremely explicit. So, you know, they couldn't just come along with just some random stuff. You know, they would really have to, you know, she was very thorough. So I'm leaning on the side of them just not doing anything. But we'll see what happens, hey? And apart from that, yeah, pleasure speaking to you guys as per usual.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolute pleasure being here. Thanks for having me out. And yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing how everything pans out with the SEC in a few days. And yeah, the saga continues. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, man. Beautiful. Fast Abdul, any last words?
I look at like this kind of stuff as just more time to build. So like obviously I want it to be over on Monday if at all possible, but like, you know, 60 days in dev time is not that long. And yeah, I can knock out like 2 more things in that timeline, right? Which is kind of the plan. So yeah,
Sweet.
like there's a bunch of builders on the chain who are just going to keep pushing stuff out. KG is going to keep making improvements for his wallet. We're going to see maybe Dipcatcher fixes EHEX. Maybe Alex from Hedron comes back and fixes something. Like, you know, more time to build is not a bad thing. It'll just make us stronger in the end anyway.
Yep. No, that's beautiful. Yep. Thanks for everything all you guys do. And yeah, Fast Abdul for continuing on building. The best thing that happened this week is that PDI ESM basically got triggered and we can stop talking about it, hopefully, and hopefully I can stop talking about it in the way of just bringing it up. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to Monday, and hopefully it's a beautiful late Easter egg that we get, just being, you know, some positive news. So, yeah, wishing everyone a great Easter and a good long weekend. We're having one here in Australia, so lots of people out and about. And yeah, take it easy. Thanks for joining us.
No worries.
Catch you later. See you guys.
See you guys.